I see we've got a few in already. Ready, Harry, Gaza. Lee won't be able to make it today, but yeah, we're here. We're back with Starship. This is its test flight 4. We've had obviously we've had 3 previous test flights, which we may talk about in a little while. Now this one, on each step, they've got closer and closer and closer. So we're looking forward to this today. I've got with me Michael. How are you, Michael?
Fine, thank you, Daz. How are you?
Not too bad. How do you think this is going to go today?
I hope it goes successfully.
Yeah, because
I just want to see all engines running and clear the tower and all that.
yeah. And we want them to come back through the atmosphere and do their simulated landings safely in the sea. These are expendable. If they do land softly, then I suppose they'll have to retrieve them because they'll still be intact. So not that they'll be much good for anything else once they've been in the sea water.
Right, yeah.
Oh, here we go. We got
Alan's just joined.
Yeah, Roger's piling in.
Roger.
I've piled in.
Hi, Rog.
I've just been out imaging the sun this morning.
Oh.
Okay, then. Well, that's all you could image during the daylight. I'll tell you what, I saw your images from Avebury. Top notch, mate. Really nice, really nice. And we'll talk about
I have
those.
got a better one than that, but you'll see on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. I was just going to say, we'll talk about that on Tuesday, what you did and things like that. So, what are you expecting today, Rog?
I don't know. It's not my birthday.
No. Well, if it was your birthday, a perfect launch would be great.
Yeah, I see. They just tweeted that they're doing the propellant fill. So,
so they've started, yeah, because the launch is due. I think they said it's about 10 to. Oh, yeah, looking at the
10
time,
to 2.
About 10 to 2. So fingers crossed that everything loads properly. Because we did see the venting. I was a bit concerned because when I came on 3 or 4 hours ago, I've been watching it. They were already doing the cool down, the chill downs, and things like that. I thought they're moving on a little bit fast. Then they were talking about a launch dead on 0 hour. So when the window opens, so that'll be 1 o'clock. But then they SpaceX come on and said no, they're pushing it back a little bit. So, I thought, whoa, have we set this wrong? So we got this wrong.
No.
But we'll be using SpaceX, NASA space flight for the coverage today. Thanks to them. It's something to really look forward to. As we said, we've been here before. This is the 4th test flight. Each time they've made progress more and more. There are some changes that they were doing this time, and one of them is they will actually be jettisoning, getting rid of the hot staging ring.
Right.
Because they left it on for the re-entry in the last flight, and of course we know it all went Pete Tong. There was some rotation, there was some joggling around and things like that. So, and it's quite a heavy beast, this is, because it's quite solid. It's full reinforced because it's got to survive the thrust of those engines when they first fire. So they're going to be dumping that, and that's going to be lessening the mass of the actual Starship on return. So that's one of the major changes. But this might only be a temporary measure, just for this flight and maybe the next one, because they need to really keep the ring on there. Or else they're going to have to keep manufacturing them, and it's going to slow down the turnover when this thing is up and flying and it's all reusable. So it's all looking good. I'll just have a quick chat about Starliner. We watched the launch yesterday, which was really nice. It worked all well. It got into space safely. They managed to all the boosters and that were working fine. But unfortunately, since last night, quite late last night or early hours of the morning, they've discovered, because they launched with one leak but now they've discovered another 2. But
Right.
they've been able to isolate them, but it means they've lost 6 of the 28 small thrusters. So it seems that they're still going ahead. They will be docking with the International Space Station, but it sounds like the leak was the same as the leak that they were already running with, a leak in this manifold in the seal or on a manifold. It's just a flat base with a rubber seal in between, and it seems that it's appeared on 2 more of these manifolds. But as I said, they've isolated them, but as a result, they've lost 6 of the thrusters. What do you think about this, Michael? Do you think this is going to jeopardize its certification?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that as you were talking, because this Starliner spacecraft is supposed to be reusable. If they keep having these problems with these different thrusters or valves or whatever, how can it be reusable when they have to keep swapping out or whatever to get it right? You know, how many flights is one Starliner supposed to make? 6, maybe?
They're said it's supposed to be reusable. Each capsule is reusable by 10 times.
Right.
They've got 2 of them, which are
Right.
supposed to be. I'm not going to say space worthy because they're not, which is being proved.
Right.
They've got 2 which are supposed to be flight worthy.
Yeah.
So they said that they're going to be launching. I think they said originally it was going to be once a year.
Right.
Well, what's the point? But they also want them to launch twice a year.
Yeah.
So they said they need 2 of them so that they can swap them out. But
Yeah.
that means they'll only be flying once a year again still.
Right.
So yes, they're reusable, but once a year.
Yeah. I know.
It's the same with SLS. They're talking about they'll be able to fly once they're in full production.
Yeah.
Once a year, which defeats the object of reusability.
Yeah.
As far as I can see. Yeah, hopefully we'll possibly come back later tonight and we'll actually cover the docking with the International Space Station to see if there are any more issues. But as far as I know, they're continuing since the update first thing in the morning. I've heard nothing else, so they're keeping their cards close to their chest. What do you think, Rog? Do you think this is going to jeopardize its certification?
Well, it's looking a bit dodgy at the moment, but as long as they can, repair once they've got it back down and suss out what the leaks are to where they are in position-wise in the craft, they might be able to get it more certified. But it's still, it's still looking pretty bad on Boeing's name to keep coming up with these faults.
Yeah, I mean there is a story.
It just makes it more against Boeing's favour on their ability to provide the manufacturing techniques to make it 100%.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing this for such a long time, and to have all these issues, and a lot of them are just mismanagement issues and just plain clumsiness. I mean, you take a look at the first test flight. It was a near disaster, but they had to bring it back and they had to do 80 repairs before they could fly it again. And then, of course, they had all the issues before they could do the second test and all this and that, right up to the launch yesterday, which, as far as I was concerned, was absolutely perfect. I'm always a bit dubious about NASA writing waivers and saying, yes, we will fly with these conditions. We know they exist. We've seen this before, and unfortunately, they've ended in disasters. But if you've got an issue, it's got to be fixed.
The situation with their aircraft, where the doors weren't fixed to the aircraft bodies,
and
it just gives you a sense that they just don't give the quality that.
I mean, Boeing used to be the benchmark for engineering. Then they joined with was it Lockheed Martin?
Yeah.
And then since then, standards have really dropped. It went from being a supreme engineering firm to a profit-making firm. And we know all about the issues. We won't mention the 737 Supermax incident. But yeah, we'll move away from that because we're getting into sort of dodgy waters. But there is, I mean, I'm concerned about these valves that they're using in this machine because I did read, this is going back a little while ago, and I might get told off for saying this, but there was a company called Valve Tech who actually sued and won Boeing, won against Boeing. And what it was is they, when they were developing the SLS, Valve Tech submitted drawings for valves to be used in the system. Boeing took away the designs and all that and said, no, it's all right, we won't do a thing and all that. And then next thing they know, they find that Boeing have developed their own valves and they're using them in the SLS, but they were using them for things that they weren't supposed to be used for. They're not designed for. And they were suing Boeing, and as I said, they won because they said, how can they have all the test data that they've had, historical test data, which they had, but Boeing had manufactured the same valve, intellectual property theft it was basically. But they said, but seeing as we actually won, we don't even know whether they swapped those valves back out again of Starliner. So they could still be using them and they're not qualified for that special job. And they also said, doesn't it go against NASA's certification systems? Everything, literally everything, down to the paint, down to the sticky labels they use. Anything like that has got to be certified as safe to use in the Starliner. And of course, with the Starliner, we had the case of the wiring looms wrapped in tape that was turned out is flammable. It wasn't up to certification, and that caused delays. But yeah, it's just. I think the concern I've got now is basically we need to get this crew back safely, and then we've got to have a thorough investigation as to what's actually going on. You can't have leaks popping up all the time, because yes, it's only two leaks. They've managed to isolate them, but they've lost some thrusters. Imagine if more leaks appear and they lose lots of thrusters.
Yeah.
I know they've got contingencies where they think that they could do the returns and things like that, but it's something that's got to be looked at anyway. So we'll be watching that closely, and hopefully we'll have a safe docking later on. Any more thoughts, and then we'll move back to Starship.
It's just one thing after another, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over the last few years.
I think Andy knocked it on the head. Said this is probably the most jinxed ship he's ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I mean, some of the actual launch problems were down to ULA, not to the Starliner. So we shouldn't really. But then again, ULA's Boeing again. Anyway, let's move away from that. Because, so as we can see, everything's they've started loading. You can see that they were showing just a second ago the frost rings beginning to form. So that'll be so everything's moving ahead. We're at T minus 37. So 37 minutes. Hopefully we'll see this soaring into the sky, and we'll stick with it. I think the whole flight is due to be, excuse me when I check my notes, 1 hour 5 minutes.
All right. Will the splashdown be the same as it was on mission number 3?
That's what they're talking about. But what they're doing is, I think they're flipping both the booster and the Starship, because they're doing a virtual tower catch. So what they're going to be doing is they'll be using all the thrusters to slow it down and do soft landings into the sea. And as I've said, if they're doing slow landings, they're going to have to recover them, because they're not going to break up or be destroyed like they were last time. So yeah, the whole event is 1 hour and 5 minutes. if everything's going fine and we've got some nice pictures, we'll stick with it. But yeah, this is something to look forward to. I mean, they're getting quicker and quicker. I have noticed that the FAA have adjusted the license to where SpaceX regards I think it was three things, and I'll probably forget them now. Actually, if it fails due to engines not starting or tiles missing and it burns up, and what was the other one? I think the fins and all that. If it's not a a controlled thing, as long as there's no threat to, as long as everything happens within the designated exclusion zone, they will not have to go through a uh, reassessment of everything that's happened.
Mm.
They won't have to do like they've had to do in the past, go through it and do a full reassessment, change all the items before they're allowed to fly again. If it's those three things, they'll get away with it. But if anything happens outside the area, say it breaks up and debris falls outside the area, then they will have to have a full investigation, like they've had to have before. So, and it basically means that with that, if it's just anything one of those threes, they could be launching again within a month. So, without having to go through an investigation. I'm not sure. I don't think it actually is classified as an open license that they can launch every time, but yeah, it's that they've changed the rules and regulations, so hopefully we should be able to get more frequent launches, and that's good because I mean, can you remember launch one? What happened?
Yes.
The test launch one. Let's have a quick chat about that.
Oh yes.
The one where yeah,
No,
it.
the
I mean,
whole
that was
disappears.
The crater incident.
that's right. Yeah, the unscheduled excavation of the launch pad.
It was that which couldn't we call that Starship and the Pit?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Quatermass in the pit. I see. I got the reference. Yeah, so yeah. So yeah, if you remember, the Starship fired its engines. It seemed to stall on the launch pad, and my heart was in my mouth. But then slowly it rose up.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't realize at the time what had happened until all the debris started flying around.
Yeah.
And we saw drone shots covering the sea, and you could see big chunks of concrete falling into the sea, just into the waves and things like that. And then, of course, it slowly launched off. We could see straight away that we'd lost some of the engines. It slowly climbed into the sky. And as it went, it lost more and more engines. We could see them going out and being destroyed on the way up. And then, of course, we come up towards the staging, but it had to be self-detonated. And again, that was a bit of a problem because the ordnance wasn't big enough to actually pierce big enough holes in it to destroy it straight away. If you remember, it had to twist and pass through its own expended fuel before it actually exploded. But yeah, excitement guaranteed, as I always say. And then, of course, we went back, looked at the pad, and there was a massive hole, and debris was strewn around for quite a square mileage, but also there was a big dust and contaminated plume that was taken on the wind over some residential areas. So, of course, that created some consternation. And then, of course, we got two launch the second test. That went better
As it does.
to a certain extent. If you remember, they launched, and we got up to separation, and we separated. The booster, and of course, this was the use of the deluge system, the first use of the deluge system. And that completely saved the launch pad, which was great. That worked. And then, of course, it took off. We got to the staging. It staged. But the booster was in trouble straight away because the boost back burn, some of the engines didn't relight. That was sort of basically out of control because the engines weren't doing what they should have done because it was out of control. So that had to be detonated. I think it was a self-detonation by the machine itself. And then they launched, the engine started on the second stage, but what they had used as ballast was liquid oxygen, which they decided to dump as it flew on. And of course, as soon as the oxygen hit the engines, the whole thing exploded. If you remember, I think that was one lesson they thought: don't use oxygen as a ballast.
Right.
So yeah, so that was a bit of a catastrophe. Again, another investigation. And if I remember right with that one, we had the wildlife people come in and say things. So then, of course, then we had three.
Yeah.
Far better.
Yes.
There was the only main problem that the concern that they had was that the Starship, once it reached orbital height, it started a slow rotation. Which unfortunately, and of course they separated again. We used this the first time they used the hot staging ring, which worked perfectly. And the booster came back. It did its boost back burn, but then it had trouble relighting the engines to slow it down, and it sort of like completely lost control, and it was destroyed. But of course, the Starship itself flew is lovely. They also did the test. They opened the door, if you remember.
Yep.
They also did a fuel transfer test because remember some of these are going to be used to transfer fuel up to starships in orbit and transfer fuel and all that. So they did that as an exercise. They were going to do a relight of an engine, but a warning light came on, so they cancelled that. But then, of course, then it came to re-entry, and I can always remember seeing it coming down, doing its belly flat thing, and you can see the plasma forming underneath the wings as it came down and flowing back up. But again, they hadn't really resolved the rotation thing, and it rotated, so it exposed the unshielded side of the thing. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Have anyone else got any memories about the last three and how exciting they were?
Well, they've certainly progressed step on step as the missions go on. So we just want to make sure that the Starship manages to do a return back safely to a watery surface.
Yeah,
and
so
that will put everyone's mind at rest to say yes, we are good to go with whatever needs to be done on the next one.
Yep, true.
Yeah, so I just noticed the link seems to be quite jerky.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yes.
So what I might do is come back off that in a second, and then actually seeing it, I'm looking at on another screen, the same link, and it's doing exactly the same. Let me just see if I cancel it on this one, and then come back onto it, see what happens. So yeah, so I can say, well, I think with the most memorable test flight was the course number 1.
Oh yes.
With the actual it dug that massive hole. And we can also remember NASA space flight's van being hit by that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So yeah, it
did they get the insurance off that?
Oh, I don't know. They parked it there.
Yeah, I
know. It's sort of like, is that third party fire or theft?
Yeah.
Or fully comp. It's I know they kept the van and they got plans for it. I don't know what they're doing with it now. Because I just did notice that they were
could put it in the museum, sort of a demonstration of how it all started.
Yeah. So, well, it looks like the count is happening quite nicely. That doesn't seem to be jerky, so I'm assuming we're all okay.
Yeah.
So we'll continue with this link for the now. And I think the uh, like I said, the first one with the damage that was caused, everybody was all speculating, oh, will they be allowed to do it again? As I said, the FAA got involved. And they had to have a full investigation, full environmental investigation as well. And this is what delayed. Was the big delay between test flight 1 and test flight 2. But yeah, it's I mean, all what I can remember about that is it was heart in the mouth stuff. It reminded me of the Apollo. The excitement I felt was reminding me of the Apollo era, which we all remember, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see it as unfortunately, because the
Yeah.
youngsters today, they missed all of that and they don't understand what this actually means.
Yeah.
But there's some nice frost lines forming on the rocket there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, things are moving on quite fast. What we'll do is like we did yesterday. And thank you thank you everyone for joining us yesterday. And I see we've got so a few of the stalwarts in again.
Mhm.
I can see we've got Gaza, Harry, Ian. Welcome all. If you've got any questions or when we think we can answer them, then I see Kev's in. Then pop them in the link. There's a bloke called Michael. So, like I said, we'll let anyone in. Thank you, Gaza, for your generosity. That's very kind of you. So yes, everybody, if you've got any questions or if you've got any memories of the last test flights, let us know. Pop them in the link, and we can sort of like have a general chat about them, because all of them have had different aspects, but it's just been so much, so much. As they say, at the end of every conference, as regards the Starship launching, the last line is always excitement guaranteed. And of course it always is.
Yes.
So what we'll do is, I mean, they've already started loading the fuel. Then we'll get of course we'll get the Raptor engines chill down. So whereabouts are we in the count? 23. So that'll be starting possibly within about 4 minutes. And then we got, of course, the ship propellant will be complete. Then booster propellant will be complete. The space director verifies go for launch. You got flame deflector activation with 10 seconds to go. Then you've got the Raptor ignition, and then you've got the launch. Now, what will be happening within once it's launched, within 1 minute 2 seconds, it will reach max Q, which is when it will reach its actual. It'll be at its most extreme stresses for the takeoff. And then we'll have the super heavy MECO, which is main engines cut off. We'll have then that's at 2:41. At 2 minutes 45, we'll have hot staging, and of course that's where the Starship Raptor engines will ignite, and you'll have its separation. 2 minutes 49, super heavy boost back burn startup. 3:52, super heavy boost back burn shutdown. So that's what, a 3 minute burn. Oh, it's quite a long burn actually. And then 3 minutes 54, we'll have hot stage jettison, and this is one of the new things that they've decided to do on this this launch, is that the hot staging ring is very heavy. It's quite because it's well reinforced, because it has to withstand the forces of the Raptor engines starting up on Starship. So it's quite a heavy beast. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to lower the mass of the Starship, and they will be dropping that to help it for its return. So yes, that's at 3:54. It's 6 minutes 39. The super heavy is transonic, which means it's below the speed of sound. 6:43. The Super Heavy landing burn startup. Now this is a stage burn. So you get different engines starting at different times and all that, and then for the actual end of it, I think virtually 13 of the inner ring engines actually fire to slow it down enough so it can just gently touch down into the sea. It will be doing the flip thing where it's going to come down. Well, it's going to, actually no, it's not going to do the flip. It's going to do like a Falcon 9 booster return. It'll come straight down, but hopefully it'll be a soft landing, and it's going to be like a simulated landing next to a tower. So that's what they're hoping for. So yeah, so what we got here? So 7:04 Super Heavy landing burn shut down. 8 minutes 23 Starship engine cut off. 47 minutes and 25 seconds. You have Starship re-entry. Now, if you remember, that was really exciting last time. We could see the plasma forming around the ship, and it was unfortunate that it just sort of like kept rolling, which was an uncontrolled roll, which ended up being a result of the engine, the loss of the ship. 1 hour, 3 minutes, 11 seconds. Starship is transonic, so again, it's gone below the speed of sound. Then we got 1 hour, 4 minutes, 1 second. Starship is subsonic. Then we've got 1 hour, 5 minutes, 34. The landing flip. So this will be turning itself upright. 1 minute 5. 1 hour, 5 minutes, 43 seconds, a landing burn, and then hopefully in 1 minute, 5 minutes, 48, an exciting landing. Again, it's going to simulate being coming down by a side of tower to be caught. So I hope that's all. Just a quick run through there. Have they changed?
Do we know when the Chopsticks will have its first actual catch of the returning booster? Will that be the next one, or in 2 more missions?
I think they said that they're going to do possibly 1 more sea landing, but with SpaceX, you don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
possibly next year. Catch the Starship on the Chopsticks. So that could be interesting.
That would be another awesome thing to watch.
Yeah, right. We're down to just over 18 minutes before launch.
Tell me then, if the Starship is caught on the Chopsticks, what about the booster?
Well, this is what they're looking at, because I suppose they're going to have two. Because if you remember, they're building a second tower here.
Yeah, I know they're building a second tower. Yeah.
So yes, they will be catching, I presume, the booster and the Starship.
Yeah.
And then one will be moved over and restacked once it's refurbished. Because they're looking at very fast turnaround time.
Yeah.
And they're also looking for, I think, more launch sites where they can build the towers so they can get the cadence going.
They're going to have 2 towers at the Cape as well, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they were looking at other launch sites, because they're going to have to, if they're going to do refueling, then the cadence, the turnaround is going to have to be very, very quick.
Yeah.
Because you can't just sort of have one go up, fill it up, come back down again, and then another one go up. Because you end up, one of the problems even in space is you'll get boil off of the fuel, so you'll be losing fuel the longer it takes. So you need to get it done as regards refueling. Right, Ian says, when we were talking about, I suppose, the Apollo, he said he was born in 72, just after the last mission, but he still understands what it means. Yeah, well, I don't actually class you as a youngster, Ian. You were just unfortunate enough to have missed all the excitement.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I was born 61, so I'm a proper space baby.
Yeah, I was born in 58.
How many?
Uh,
So hopefully I'll get to retire. I hope to get to
oh,
retire
yeah.
this
I
year.
have.
So yeah, if anyone's got any questions or anything, please pop them in the chat, and then we'll endeavour to answer them as much as we can. So yeah, right. What else can we talk about?
Oh, 16 minutes to go, according to.
Yeah, and of course, SpaceX are developing the first moon lander,
Well, yeah.
which is going to take astronauts back to the moon. Uh, so that's something else that they're working toward, and this is why this and I I was again. This involves Boeing and the SLS. Um, Boeing have recently released a lot of their staff who were working on the SLS, citing the delays everywhere else, but for them. And they were citing like the Starship. Well, to be quite honest, I must admit I am of the opinion that NASA should be investing more heavily in the Starship to help the development along. But just to get all the testing done, because they're hoping to send the first moon ship to the moon Starship next year. So
Right.
no, sorry, 2026. That's 2 years, isn't it? My maths ain't very good. So yeah, they need to get this going. They're going to have to do a lot more test flights, successful test flights of Starship. So as I said, they need to be investing um, and get this moving a bit faster, because they, like I said, they have been held up previously on all these tests because of all these investigations that are being held. So hopefully now with the FAA basically waiving certain parameters, as long as everything falls within the designated exclusion zones. If it's a failure, if it's one of the three things I explained earlier, then they won't have to have a full investigation. So it what will be so cool? Will Scotland? I can't wait. Oh yeah, they're in the chat. They're talking about the launches at
Oh, yeah.
Saxford and in Scotland, because that's where most of the vertical takeoffs are going to be happening.
Yeah.
There will be 4 eventually. As Ian says, there will be 4 sites in launch sites in Scotland, with Sutherland in 2026 and 2 others later on.
Yeah.
So of course we've got Saxford, which hopefully the end of this year we'll be getting our own launch from British soil, and it will be a German company. It's nice that they're sending rockets away from us and not towards us. But
No.
yeah, but it's yeah, we all well, I don't remember it, but we know what they do. But yeah, it's exciting times. They've done a successful engine fire up there. They did a complete test where they fired all the engines. They basically staggered how they fired them, but it was successful, and they fired them for a good 20 odd seconds when they were all lit. So yeah, so things are moving on. So hopefully soon we'll be showing you our uh they what somebody says they should transfer
Oh,
SLS cash to Starship. Yeah, that's one way they could go. That's one way they can go. But the thing is, I find with the Artemis system is it's too complicated. There's too many vehicles being involved. There's things. I mean, like the lunar gateway. I think it's going to be redundant most of the time. So yeah, there's a lot of things they could be doing, but I should think they should be supporting SpaceX a bit more, because if it hasn't been for SpaceX for the last 5 or 6 years, they wouldn't be getting into space at all. So they should be sort of like learning now that the private sector can help them big time, and they need to support it. Right, so we're nearly coming up to 11 minutes. Excitement's growing. You can see. Well, then what I'll do is I'll just go full screen with the picture. We'll get rid of our mugshots. So and then later on, what we'll do is about 5 minutes to go, we'll listen to the commentary. So we won't be hearing anything from SpaceX. It'll all be from was it NASA Spaceflight? And they do tend to gibber on a little bit, but these chaps do really know what they're talking about. So let's just go to the full screen. We can continue talking. So, looks a bit dull there.
Oh dear.
But I just want to let's see if I can make the. Just bear with me. Oh, it is on a low. So that should give us a better picture.
That's better.
Ah.
Right. Okay then.
Very good.
All right. So let's go back to here. Yeah. So there we go. I can actually see the chat now. Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you again for joining us today. It's another school day, so hopefully we might be able to get Andy join us in a little while. He's working. If he misses the launch, hopefully he'll still join for the rest of the flight. As we said, we'll stick with it as long as we can, and hopefully cover some successful splashdowns. Yeah. Any thoughts, chaps?
No, just let's go for a good launch.
Yeah,
launch, I should say.
Yeah. All this hanging about isn't good for the old ticker. So what we got? We're just under 10 minutes now, are we?
Yep.
Yeah, 9:50.
Yeah, it's all right. There's some figures from Restream stuck over the top of the countdown, so I couldn't quite see it. So as I said, when we get to 5 minutes, we'll listen to the countdown and watch the launch, and we'll make commentaries once the thing is safely in the air. Then we'll come back on and have a little bit of a chat about what's going on. I'll probably find we'll just be sat there with our mouths agape again as we normally do, because what you got to remember, this is one of the biggest rocket that's ever been launched. And every time they do something, it seems to get bigger, because when they added the hot staging ring, that added a good few meters to it. So in the view at the moment, you can see the quick connection arm, which will be swung away right at the very last minute. Everything's going fine at the moment. Touch wood, we've had no holds. No reports of leaks either, which is a nice change. But they've got this down to pat now. Usually it takes, I think it's about 45 minutes, probably less than that, to actually totally fuel this a behemoth of a rocket. And you can see the ice falling off of the sides of the rockets there. Don't start playing about, please. I might have to... let me bear with me. I don't want it to...
Well, it'll be a first if the booster rocket doesn't have a rapid disassembly on its return back down.
True.
That'll be a first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a first. I mean, it got quite close last time. But it did seem to lose a bit of... it sort of like all went wobbly, and it seemed to be when it started to hit the cloud layer. There was only a fine cloud layer, but it was... it seemed to sort of like all start wobbling about. You could see the... and also, didn't they say one of the actual... what they call the waffle irons, the actual flaps actually broke. So
yeah,
if I remember right, they said it was flapping around in the breeze, so that probably didn't help. And the others were trying to correct it. But yeah, I was just wondering why it keeps buffering. I'm not running too much on there. I see we've got some. Can I hear messages coming through somewhere?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be back in a second or two.
Okay.
All right. Okay then. Right, everything's it's a bit main foggy there. If I remember rightly, the last one was as well because, of course, it's early morning there.
I'm sure the fueling isn't helping with the gases coming
No, pretty close. Yeah, that probably sort of like I mean, because there it looks not too bad,
in.
but of course they're a mile or so away.
Yeah.
So of course you've got all that condensation around there. Look, they can't even see the site.
They'll see the rocket flames.
Yeah, they'll see it. They'll know when it's
and then
the
sound.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'd
the
love
vibration.
to. Yeah, I'd love to be there.
I would love to be there too.
Yeah, so it
and to see it return back on the landing pad.
Yeah, that'd be really great. So yeah, it's just fingers crossed that everything works this time. This needs to be we need some success so that they can then move on. Oh, that looks like it's going to clear nicely. They need to start sort of like moving on, getting these test flights done, and then of course we can move on. Ian said, could the weather be a problem? With this ship, no. I think the tolerances are, because it's so heavy, it's so big, which you would have thought would have been a thing, but it's so powerful that we've never had any, except for high winds. I can remember when it was on the launch pad, and but I think that was the problem they had once, and they were severe winds. But it seems to be the sky's clearing. They said something about 96% the weather was good for launch, so that sounds good. But yeah, right, okay. Then what we'll do now is we'll go go and listen to the sound, and then we'll come back, and we'll just sort of like generally talk when we go through the thing. So hopefully you can.
Header tank is basically just there to help them during this landing and prevent sloshing. They have other sloshing prevention.
My friend.
Okay.
Don't do this to me.
Always automatic systems that could prevent that in like, automatically hold at T minutes 40 seconds, so you never know. And yeah, we saw that tower event coming back. That is essentially confirmation that propellant load has wrapped up on the ship.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing.
Fueling is now complete.
It's not going to. That camera's not going to survive long after.
No, that camera is very much like that's what's the next level of danger. That's like
danger. Death cam.
Confirmation that indeed propellant load is complete on Starship. So, 5,000 tons of propellant on board this rocket, about to lift off in less than 2 minutes.
And we are once again here, everybody. We are at below 120 seconds to a Starship potentially launching.
And we just got word that prop load is complete. Yeah, prop load is complete. I think it's happening. So we are about 1 minute and 40 seconds out. Adrian, when does the Starship's computers take over the launch count at this point?
Which will be once again similar to Falcon 9 at 1 minute. And going forward from that, if we go down the countdown, we also have a few more minor steps that we will observe here. We will have the verifying go for launch at 30 seconds. Then we have the flame deflector, the giant flame deflector system at the bottom of the rocket, which will activate at 10 seconds. And then the Raptor ignition ignite at 3 seconds. That will be a staged ignition. And then at 0 seconds, they will throttle up the Raptors above 50%, and then basically achieve a thrust-to-weight ratio of over 1. And as soon as they achieve that, it's go.
Right, here we go.
After that, we go.
We're going.
Dear.
And
Pretty palm time.
we are at the just about the 40-second mark to launch, and if they were going to hold, we would probably get word of that right now, but it looks like we're passing through that. We were listening for that hold to happen. It doesn't appear to be happening. So we are 30 seconds out now
They're
from
going.
the launch.
No hold.
They're going.
All right, so that's it, folks. We are going. So what we're going to do is at the end of the count, as we always do, we will be keeping quiet.
Go for launch.
And my heart rate's starting to go now, guys, too. My watch is about to notify me.
Watch for the deluge. Watch for the deluge. We will. The next thing, we are 10 seconds. We should see the deluge now.
Ooh. I can hear it.
I can hear it.
There it is.
There it goes. Oh my god.
And we got ignition.
Here we go. It's going.
Lift off.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Well, looks like there's
Oh,
an
we got
engine
some
out.
engines out, yeah.
Oh no.
It's at least 2. Yeah, if you look at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Opposite sides.
Oh, Gordon Bennett, come on. I'm releasing.
Successful liftoff, gentlemen, but it
Going.
looks like one engine
it's
is
going now.
out. Adrian?
Yeah, it looks like they lost one Raptor engine so far. They are flying with 32 engines uphill so far, which is good. Like, there's some engine out capability on Super Heavy. They should be still fine.
Going through
Right,
max
so far-
Q.
Yeah, max Q.
Oh boy.
Oh, there we go.
There goes Mick.
There's the. Oh, it's looking beautiful.
Passing through the
Especially at
splashdown.
this hour.
The engine that they lost is also on the outer ring of engines, so in theory that should not affect the return of Booster 11.
Good. Because only the center 16 starred, right?
Look at it go.
Hey, looking good so
Yeah,
far.
right.
Going down range.
Yeah.
I apologise
Looking
for the
good.
messing about. I reduced the
There we are.
resolution.
There you can see the
trying to stop
one
buffering.
engine on the left. You can see it out.
Yep.
Yep.
Look
So
at that.
let me grab
Right,
the timeline
good,
here
isn't
as we are going through this here.
That's a brilliant view.
And for those who watch
This-
Falcon launches, you'll see that those grid fins are always out on the booster.
And the
I think this
interesting
is
thing is
engine
that
chill, right?
you'll be able to see those grid fins actually rotating ahead of hot staging because they help on the rotation of the booster. So watch out for those grid fins. They will turn. Well,
30
they might
seconds to
even
that maneuver.
already be turned.
They can see the engine chill, I think, right? Going on still
Yep.
on the vacuum engines.
Should be coming up
Kind of
on the
a-
hot staging in just a few seconds.
Ooh.
And the good news is
There
we
it
still
is.
have 32
Boy,
engines
is
lit,
it-
so
That's good.
Huh.
we haven't lost
Might
any
change the
further
timeline
engines.
a bit, by the way. Don't be worried
Yeah.
if the timeline change a bit, because the one engine is out. That might change a bit of the
There we
events.
go.
As we can see,
Grid
here.
fins are rotating.
Ah,
Booster engine cut off.
Ooh.
Hot staging.
Ooh.
And there's the ship ignition.
There we
And
go.
hot staging.
hey.
All right.
Wow. There we go.
Ah,
Look
back.
at the grid fin rotating back.
And Booster now going for the aggressive flip and boost back burn.
Yeah, looks good
I
on
see-
the boost back.
I see all the engines so
All
far
engines
good.
have lit and the booster back.
That's good.
That's good.
All the engines
Ship
have
also,
started
And
on
all
6 engines are lit.
Starship.
Going
Yep,
into.
and this is already better than the.
Oh boy.
Well, the boost pack is already looking good, right, Alex?
That's
like
right.
the last time.
Let's see what happens. Also, watch out for the hot staging ring jettison as well.
Oh yeah, I want to see if that happens during the flip.
Let's see what happens. We're coming up on that end. You can see there on the speed. It's now coming back.
3
Shutting
engines.
down.
All right.
Yep.
I love that. I love that
And-
sequence of how they shut things down.
Right.
And shutdown of all
Shutdown.
engines.
This is exciting stuff, lad chaps.
And now let's wait for if they actually deploy doing a rotation. You can see the start of the rotation.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
There we go. Yes,
Oh,
exactly that. Because
That's
that
staging
means
ring.
Hot stage.
they're doing that because the difference in like mass makes it now float away. It's kind of like a Starlink deploy.
And it's flipping.
That's awesome.
You can see
That
there
does look quite a substantial piece of equipment.
Yeah.
the thrusters firing
Oh,
on the
don't-
methane tank on the
Don't
top.
miss.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
So it's
Yeah, we can hear you.
very
I've
expected,
let you
right,
in,
that
Andy.
we'll
So,
jettison,
Great.
during the
we're just
flip.
Wonderful.
Meanwhile, the ship is going
flummoxed
into
at the moment
that
with this.
near orbital
doing as
speed.
well.
So everything,
Yeah,
we had
Lou's
just
here as well.
that
Thank you
one
for joining us,
silver on
Lou.
the way up,
And
but
Andy.
it still can do the job. It's a multi-engine vehicle. It can still do the job even if it loses
Hope everyone can see
in
this.
on the way up.
Sorry about the buffering. I don't know why it's
boost back burn
doing the
looks to be
buffering thing. But
Good so far. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah.
look well. Starship,
So
Ship
now-
29, continuing with its burn.
Now the important next question will be, of course we had a successful boost back burn,
Exactly.
and
yeah.
there will not be an entry burn. That's the one thing we need to point out here. Super Heavy does not perform an entry burn, but there will be a landing burn, and this is the simulated catch. This is what they are wanting to try here. So get ready for that simulated catch, and we want to see, correct me if I'm wrong here, Alex, all
Yes.
center engines, basically everything but the outer ring should ignite.
Yeah, exactly. All 13 engines will ignite for the landing burn. Just real quick before we go into the super heavy action, I gotta acknowledge the fact that I don't see any major tile loss on Ship 29. By the way,
no, it
Oh,
looks good.
true.
Very clean.
Everything. This is amazing.
I think
Should we
that
see
there were
I mean-
two tiles
Difference
missing
Super
on the
Heavy is
initial
going to
launch.
wiggle as the booster is already passing through 60 kilometers, so it's about to
The ti-
hit the superpower.
And if you notice, there's no rotation.
The timeline is a bit later than
Still there's
look at
stable,
this.
isn't it?
Oh,
Look at that!
That's
Whoa.
that's
That's a
the
cool view.
forward.
Ooh,
That's the
see
forward dome, right?
You can see on the right above the engine,
The
way
Griffin motor.
for the ship. You can see the motors turning. Oh my lord!
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
Look at that!
that's the Griffin motors, right? That's the steering.
Oh, look
Whoa,
at that!
one.
Look
Our
at
facing
that.
camera.
Oh.
So every
Oh,
time
look at
we
the speed! The speed is going
Wow.
down as it hits.
Landing
atmospheric.
landing burn should start up very soon here,
Yeah.
Watch the bottom
Watch out
left.
for that engine.
and we want to see
graphic.
13 healthy engines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Look at that contrail.
Getting ready to go through the
Oh,
clouds.
look at that.
Come on, Mr. 11.
1,500.
that grid fin's working really hard there.
It's giving it everything, and I think
There we
yes,
go.
we have,
Yes.
There we
I
go.
see 13. I see
Yes,
13.
we are.
Yep.
Wow.
One out.
Oh,
And
Oh, one out.
Down
12,
to three.
12.
and
Come on.
Down to three.
and
And
there was some.
That's
Landing.
water. That's the water.
it's landing.
It's in the
landing on
water.
the
In the water. Wow.
Jeez. Oh my lord.
Fantastic.
Mr. 11 landing on the ocean. And there goes the tumble.
There
Oh,
goes.
Excellent.
But that was-
Absolutely
that was what they
excellent.
were
Amazing.
Well, that's their first
Before, right?
success.
So,
Yeah.
so that result was what they were hoping
Successful
for.
landing of
Wow, that was fantastic. Well done, everybody.
And somebody asked earlier, where does
general guidance?
I thought they might have had a boat
now,
out there to film it coming down onto the
guidance,
water.
trying to target that
Well, I suppose it's quite a
orbital
big area to
trajectory.
cover, so you know. Well, but then again, with lenses, but I mean, there might be
that's
some plane out there somewhere.
That's half the stage so far down.
Right.
ARVAC shut down.
ARVAC shut down.
No, let's get this Starship down. Ooh. Oh, that was so exciting. My heart's a bit I don't know about everybody else. That was fantastic.
And the centers burn a bit more.
Yep. And
but we've got none of the rotation this time.
So if we can unpack for a second what we saw.
That looks super stable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Once again, Starship makes it into, well, not full orbit, but near orbital trajectory.
Right. Close enough. And
that means got...
Oh, there you go. Nominal orbital insertion.
Yeah.
Right, so where are
maybe
we
a bit too early to celebrate, but if everything goes well now, we have a high chance of once again seeing some spicy re-entry.
Yeah,
there's definitely, it's already committed to a re-entry.
No rotation
right?
here.
Already in that trajectory.
Yeah.
Now the point
no rotation.
of Ship 29 is
it's due to start ship re-entry.
Probably like me right now that I have to control my excitement, I guess,
47 minutes,
my
25 into the flight.
Well, this is so exciting.
Yeah, we're talking about
we have that booster
just under 40 minutes. So,
and now that ship back.
38 minutes.
Oh, boy. It's amazing.
Now, I did see some debris coming off of that booster on the way back down, so I'm sure they'll be looking at that. But it looks as though if they were trying to catch the booster, they probably would have been able to there.
Right. What we done?
Oh dear.
What's happened here? Oh, what's this? What's going on here?
I don't know.
That's me. Sorry. I will get back. I will get you back.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry. I do apologise. This is me. I do apologise. This is me cocking it up.
Give a boy a man's job.
Yeah, I know.
Can you actually see me now? I've problems with my camera.
Oh,
they're doing a highlight.
No, it's reset itself back to the start of the launch. So there we go. Let's just let it settle down. I do apologise for that. I just got all excited. I was just right. What do you think of that then, chaps?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Absolutely amazing.
We'll come back to the coverage, the live chat when we get to somewhere near re-entry. But everything seems to be running fine. We'll just do that.
Just the loss of one Raptor engine by the looks of it.
Yeah. I thought there was, when it first took off, I thought there was two, so maybe one
restarted.
Yeah, maybe one restarted. So yeah, we'll be definitely yeah.
Morning, chaps.
Hello.
Right.
Got in just a little late. I noticed they are just under orbital velocity right now. I suspect it's where they'll stay. It looks pretty steady. And I can't help but kind of move myself out of the moment and think about the role that Starship is going to play if all things continue in our crewed spaceflight program.
Yeah.
It will be the plan is to use it for the Artemis 3 lunar landing. I don't think for Artemis 2.
No.
And then Moon, Mars, and beyond, as NASA says.
Yeah, well, that was absolutely amazing. We've got to watch the booster come back as it did. Oh, that was stunning. Absolutely stunning.
So they were planning to land the booster at a virtual tower.
Yeah.
So the booster thought it was landing next to a tower, and that appeared to have worked.
Yeah, it did seem to do a hover, do a hover, didn't it? Because it didn't splash straight into the water. It seemed to hover. You could see the spray coming off, and then it just dropped into the ocean. That was fantastic. Yeah. Oh, right. They're waiting for acquisition of the signal, but yeah, I'm
going over to a different station for the transfer of the signal.
Possibly, yeah, yeah.
What time is the Starship splashdown?
It's 1 hour. What we got? Yeah, 1 hour 5 minutes 48 seconds into the flight. So, but it starts its re-entry at 47 minutes 25. So we've got a little way to go yet. So hopefully there'll be some replays. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know about anybody else. I've just found that absolutely, so exciting. So I might have to have a lie down. But anyway, it's nice to see you, Lou. I hope you're all feeling better.
Thanks. I'm on the road. On the road to recovery.
Full of drugs, man. Full of drugs.
I am. I hesitated to come on. So
yeah.
I do see all of your engines firing there, Daz, behind you. So that's
Mine's a better launch than the we did here. I didn't have that out. So it's a very. But no, I thought that was absolutely stunning. And we've got more excitement to come, as Elon always says, excitement guaranteed. So let's.
Isn't it great in this era of so many launches? Okay, back when I was growing up, there were a few launches here and there, and an occasional human launch, and but isn't it great to get excited about the program again, about the potential?
Isn't
it? Yeah. As I said, it sort of like takes us back to the Apollo when it was the unknown. I mean, this is something, like I said, this is the biggest ship ever launched. So that alone is such a behemoth. I mean, we watch it on the screens and we don't really appreciate how big it is. Unless you've got somebody on one of the gantries or anything like that, you just do not realize how big it is. But just to get it off the ground is an absolute achievement. And as I said earlier in the warm-up, every time they do some sort of like a change on it, it makes it bigger. I mean, when you imagine when they put that staging ring on, that increased it by a couple of meters. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Longer as well, isn't it? The next one.
Sorry, Roger. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, the Starship's going to be even longer as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, they're extending that. So yeah. So, but yes, it's as Lou said, it's just so nice to be able to get excited about. So, and I think also part of it is the philosophy of SpaceX is test it to destruction and then go again. I mean, we've got so used to NASA's let's test everything and then test it again and test it again. So any new development takes so long. I mean, it's understandable why they do that, especially if it's going to be carrying humans. But I mean, can you remember virtually every other week we had starships launching until he actually nailed the landing? And I can remember sitting there watching those. I'd have about four or five different screens going with different apps on them, so watching them from all angles, and it was
I think you pegged it, Daz, when you said it's different with human cargo. But I know historically NASA occasionally has some absolutely must succeed programs. So James Webb was like that. There have been some Mars landers that were like that because of the notoriety that Mars gets and the many failures that both NASA Europe and the Russians have had going to Mars, and so it's a big public spectacle. And then, of course, any problems with a human payload. So NASA has a few mottos, right? We know some of them, dare mighty things, for example, but safety first, especially after the Challenger disaster rocketed to the top of NASA's promotion of their mottos and their mission. So I think it took something like that to really ratchet up the level of caution.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly, Lou. Because I can remember, I've done a lot of research into the Apollo 1 capsule disaster.
Oh, yes.
And I can remember Gene Kranz at the time. He wrote a motto, which he told every engineer to walk on their write on their chalkboard. I haven't got it with me here, but apparently it was read at the funeral of the astronauts from the Columbia disaster, just to reiterate that it's basically it's basically saying, don't get conceited, never be conceited. And I think even now that it's still floating around NASA in places where the engineers, just to remind them, is to the people's lives are involved. But yeah, no, so you can understand why they do test things to the nth degree. But like I said, it's just not, I wouldn't say refreshing, but it just adds to the excitement that these will test to destruction, and to the hell with it, on to the next one. So yeah, it adds to the excitement. As I said, this ship's so big. It's so big. I must admit, I was a little bit wary when I saw the one engine out. I think it possibly there was two at the launch, but maybe one reignited. Yeah, that was fantastic. Well, what does everybody else think? Come on, let's go around the room. Michael.
Well, I think it is an immense achievement. I'm a little bit worried that it's taken them so long to acquire the signal, though. It might indicate a major problem. But so far, it's been absolutely unbelievable, and they've accomplished one of the major goals, which is, of course, to land the booster. Up until now, everything seems to have gone more or less perfectly. So all the engineering that they've done on both the Starship and the booster, with literally hundreds of improvements that they learned from the previous flight test, I think so far everything seems to have worked. We had the hot staging, the jettisoning of the hot staging ring to lower the mass of the booster. It looked like a flawless descent of the booster, no problems, and we saw it ending up in the water as planned, landing next to a virtual launch tower. Yeah. So so far so good, but I'm a little worried about how long it's taking them to get the signal, because normally transfer a signal between two ground stations only takes a couple of minutes at most, and there doesn't appear to have been anything new so far, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, not at the moment. Because last time they used Starlink, didn't they?
Yes.
But I haven't heard that mentioned this time. So
well, I'm looking at a different feed, and the speed in the altitude is static, which usually means it's failed, I think.
Well, the plan was to have them coast for 40 minutes? I don't remember.
Yeah.
So it may still be coasting with very minor. You should see, actually, there's very minor atmospheric drag at that altitude. So you should see the speed going down very, very slowly, I think. So I'm not ready to throw the towel in yet.
No, it's because I know last time they used Starlink for the communications, and they had literally a flawless communication all the time. There was no transition to a new station for the signal to be picked up. So we won't throw in the towel just yet. There seems to be a problem on the feed again. We had this earlier on with they were talking to this lady and it was all jerky. So I think it's possibly their end that's they're still waiting acquisition. Yeah, because everything's blank at the moment. Because if they're not getting telemetry, then
well, at least they're not showing it to us.
Well, like I might see if I can.
X was the splashdown of the booster.
Let's. Yes, we've still got about what did I say? Yeah, but over 20 minutes before it's supposed to start its re-entry. I mean, maybe like Lou said, it's probably got this coast stage. Maybe they've said we don't need the telemetry. I mean, if it's failed now, then there could be big repercussions because it's going to be nowhere near its re-entry site.
Right.
But
I think I'm just an eternal optimist. I could see this thing plunging down in fire and blowing up, and saying, "Well, I wonder if that's in the mission plan. Let's check and see."
It's all planned. It's all planned. Yeah. Death and Armageddon. It's all planned. But no, it's as I said, it's a 20-minute, virtually a 20-minute coast stage, obviously. And we're looking at 47 minutes 25 when the Starship re-entry. So hopefully we should have some telemetry by then. 47 minutes. Is it actually doing a full orbit this time, or?
No, it's doing about 90% of an orbit.
Right. So we're talking about it is virtually. I would have thought they would have wanted telemetry though. So I mean, nobody seems to be concerned. I'm
concerned.
Oh well, yeah, we are because they're not letting us know. Yeah, Mike, get on to Elon. Ask him what's going on. Send him a text.
Well,
so we're desperate to know.
Yeah, there's nothing on X, as I say. So not yet.
It may be that he hasn't charged up the Tesla that's on board, and so they have to.
Yeah.
So that's that's a bit of a shame that obviously he hasn't used to Starlink. So yes, we haven't had the.
Well, NASA space flights seem to be okay, don't they? So.
Yeah, I see the countdowns are working.
Right.
The countdown's not jerky. It's just the image they're getting from that young girl. Obviously, she's using a cat phone or something. Without listening to them, we can't really tell.
There's a tweet from X saying the external cameras will be online in 11 minutes.
Where's that come from?
That's from X.
From
Elon Musk's tweet.
Is that a SpaceX tweet?
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Oh, mine's not updating. Why?
Well, there you are, Lou. You were right to be optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay. Has anybody seen any shots of the ground equipment? Does everything look intact on the ground?
Well, they haven't shown anything.
There's no acquisition of the trench or anything there. The plate.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they haven't shown any. They showed us some of the tower and all that, and everything seemed to be in place. And
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I was just saying, did anybody catch the static fire the other day with the new flame trench?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw a replay of it. It works very well.
It did.
But
we still don't know. We still don't know what Ship 26 is for.
No, it's the mystery ship.
Black Ops.
Just to inform our viewers, Ship 26 is a Starship that they built without any control surfaces, i.e. fins, without a heat shield, looking like an elongated bullet. And they've never specified exactly what they're going to do with it, but they static fired it the other day. Using, as Dad said, the new flame trench at the Massey site. So interesting, the flame trench seemed to work. Of course, they couldn't build the flame trench at the launch site at Boca Chica because the water table is just below the surface there. And it would have been virtually impossible to dig a flame trench that didn't immediately fill with water. So this is why they never dug a flame trench there, because of the close proximity of the groundwater. Yeah, it seemed to go very well.
So could Ship 26 be a lunar Starship?
Well, that's what people were asking, but it doesn't have the features that you'd expect the lunar Starship to have. Because as we all know, there's going to be a ring of engines just below the top of the lunar Starship, which will fire as it approaches the lunar surface, so as not to disturb the lunar regolith and throw up clouds of dust. So it really is a bit of a mystery, Ship 26, and SpaceX have never given an indication of what exactly it is and what it's for.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I also haven't seen for a while is they had a ship that had a door in the side of it, didn't they? And they think that's where they were building the inside, a mock-up for the inside of the lunar.
Well, yes, in fact, NASA toured it a little while ago, went and had a look inside, so that's all going ahead.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I haven't seen that for a while on the. Mind you, I haven't been looking at the feed, so yeah, it's all it's all as long as everything's moving ahead. This is what we want. Things are going forward, not backwards or sideways. I mean, they're showing the tower now. Everything seems fine. There's just a bit of venting while they're clearing the lines, and that's yeah, it looks everything's fine. So
wasn't that a lovely shot of the whole spaceship with the sun in the background? That was beautiful.
Yeah, yeah,
that's absolutely beautiful.
Of course, it was like launch 2 that we had all the fog and everything, but that cleared just at the last minute. Because of course we've got to remember this is on the coast, so of course with all that recondensation going on, that probably helped, because they showed a shot from where everybody stood on the other side of the bay, and you couldn't even see anything. It was just shrouded in fog. But as we said, they would have known when those engines lit, so they would have seen that. And but yeah, it's very it's as I said, it was exciting times. Now we just need to get this acquisition of signal, and then we can see that things are right, and then we can watch this Starship do exactly the same as the booster, and then we're well ahead, well on the way now. So I think there's one. Sorry.
Now that we're you don't see a rocket go up now without a number of cameras on it to show the rocket, show the events, show the Earth. I wonder what our valuable community of flat earthers is thinking about this.
We had
and give us your thoughts.
We had a conversation about this yesterday, and Andy was on a wind up. But yeah, we were talking about. We had the Starliner go up, and you saw the lovely curvature of the actual Earth, and I made a comment about it, so now deny the Earth is round now, and Andy was saying, "Oh, that's just the edge of the disc." So yeah, and but
still, they're surprisingly quiet. So I want to invite them to come on.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you about that, Lou.
I'll let you guys handle it.
Yeah, we'll sort of like I think
are they in the same boat as the UFO community?
Yeah, possibly.
Not the UFOs from the round planets, though.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still I beggars belief with me that people can have these ideas. They're entitled to them, but it's just how can they deny science?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just
Alan's just put something up.
where are
Is
we?
is S26 for Hubble?
No. No, sorry. NASA have told SpaceX they're definitely not going to rescue Hubble.
Oh, they?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to allow them to go anywhere near it.
Told us about that.
They think it's too risky, not just for SpaceX, but for anybody to try and get near Hubble, because one false move and you lose the telescope entirely. So I don't know what the plan is. Well, I do know what the plan is because they had a press conference the other night and they announced that they're going to change operations of the Hubble so it will now operate only on one gyro, which it's capable of doing. The gyro that failed a couple of weeks ago, they're not going to try and resurrect. They've said it's dead. So Hubble will only be flying on one gyro out of an original 6. So it's still capable of doing astronomy. It's just that it's going to be a bit more difficult to steer and point. But NASA didn't seem that worried about it.
Right.
It's in way. I mean, so NASA has a few competing goals. One is for their great space missions would like to cover the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, and so JWST is infrared locked up, and Hubble has a little near IR, and of course mostly visual and UV. So that's one goal. The other is to meet its budgetary requirements. And while we know we have with the space shuttle gotten close to Hubble for various repair missions with the shuttle. I don't think it's in the budgetary schema right now to launch a mission to repair Hubble. So
No.
It will go as long as it can, doing correlative observations with other missions and ground-based systems that are looking in different wavelengths and so on. But I think the general feeling of the agency is that at some point Hubble's done its amazing job and it will be time to sunset it. And I'm sure it will be replaced with something, but I don't know what the plans are for that.
Well, there is a point, Lou, that as far as the optical band goes, when the European Extra Large Telescope comes online, it's going to have up to 15 times the resolution of Hubble. So, is there any need for Hubble anymore with the new generation of ground-based telescopes?
What a sad statement. You may be right, Andy.
I know that's life, isn't it? Basically, the ground-based telescope technology has come on so far with adaptive optics that it can outperform Hubble. Look, we've got a signal.
Yay!
Hey.
So that was about right then for the cameras to come back online.
Yeah.
So I noticed the speed is slightly under orbital velocity, right? So orbital is about 28, 29 kilometers per hour. So
it's accelerating though.
It is.
Yeah, it's due
what's
to
going
start.
on with that? I don't really understand that. Are they?
Yeah, 10 minutes. It's supposed to start its re-entry.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, look, it's the edge of that disc again.
Yeah, that's right. The edge of the flat Earth.
Okay,
and
so
I won't hear anything to the contrary.
Yeah, the edge of the flat Earth.
The fact that it's rotating underneath us doesn't come into it, does it?
No,
that's an optical illusion.
It's that
Wait,
wide
gentlemen,
angle lens.
this is Artemis. He's come to watch. Interest in this program.
What are we looking at in that image there? Is that one of the fins? Must be.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. But I've never seen that big silver piece on it. Or is this?
That's one of the forward flaps, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if this is one of the forward ones, the top ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, it seems to be its attitude seems to be fine at the moment.
Yeah, 156 kilometer. Oh, it's descending.
Yeah, and I did notice there's no.
Yeah, it's descending.
No fuel. There's no fuel marked on there. There must be fuel in there. Yeah, they haven't got. Oh, yes. So anyway, we got. Yeah, the speed's definitely increasing.
That fuel gauge probably doesn't include the fuel in the header tank, which will be used for the landing burn.
Right.
That's probably just the main tanks.
Yeah, we're definitely descending, and we're definitely picking up speed.
Yeah.
So what have we got? We're at 47. So we've got about 20 odd minutes before it actually lands, hopefully softly into the sea.
And don't forget, viewers, while we're waiting, if you have any comments, please put them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them.
Yeah. Alan did say, and I missed it a little while ago, he said, what was venting from the back of the ship when it was coasting? I can't remember seeing it, and I was probably looking at something else at the time.
No, I didn't see that either.
No.
I did see something venting slowly. It didn't look like with any force. And it was dark, so it did not have any real temperature to it, likely. So, but don't know what that was.
For something completely different, Ariane 6 inaugural launch is targeted for the 9th of July.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
Something to pencil in.
Yeah.
Europe's new launcher, Ariane 6.
Yeah.
Replacing the venerable and highly reliable Ariane 5.
Yes, I know.
And don't forget, it was the Ariane 5 that put the James Webb Telescope onto such a perfect trajectory. Its onboard fuel now may last twice as long, giving the telescope twice its expected lifespan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that was an excellent launch.
Another case of life, Andy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's on the ESA website about the Ariane 6.
Right.
Well, we'll certainly cover that if we can here on Space Oddities.
Yep, of course. Yes, we'll give it a go.
By the way, I don't know whether you saw this. That's a simulation. Yeah, something funny to come out of Monday's live stream was the fact that an anagram of Space Oddities is escaped idiots, which sums us up quite nicely, really.
That's apt.
Yeah.
I like that. We could add that on our next T-shirt.
Yeah, Lou, put that on the card.
Hey guys, other entries greatly received.
Yeah.
Escaped. Yes. Oh dear me.
We are the escaped idiots.
Yeah, lovely jubbly. Yeah. Oh, that's clever. That is. I wonder how long it took somebody to work that out.
It took me about 10 seconds, actually.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, using the Internet Anagram server.
Yeah.
So it wasn't yourself then. It wasn't yourself. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, but that is really that's funny. That is. Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions, please pop them in, and we'll have a look. We're definitely.
Oh wow!
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's better than last time, isn't it?
Yeah, still no rolling.
No, exactly.
No.
Rolling.
So in order to fix the rolling problem, they installed extra engines, right? So I wonder if that
extra thrusters, yeah.
That emission that we saw earlier, I'm just speculating, could have been
could be
an adjustment for rolling.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, yeah, that could well be. Hopefully, we'll get some more details. And talking about details, we need some more details of what's happening with Starliner. They've discovered some more. We did discuss this earlier. Some more leaks, but they've been able to isolate them. But it's with the loss of 6 of the 28 thrusters.
Daz, it's not so much a case of Houston, we have a problem. It's Houston, can anybody hear a hissing noise?
Yeah, but it sounds like it's the same sort of flanges.
Oh, I see a
that they-
little there.
Something fell off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably ice, I hope.
I was reading up a little more about the plans for Artemis, and it looks like there'll be something that we're not used to, that the that Starship will sit in orbit for a while as SpaceX launches separate support vehicles to transport fuel to the spacecraft Earth orbit before it leaves for the moon. Very interesting. And this hasn't been tested yet, so
because I was going to ask with the refueling how it's actually going to work. Because how are they going to actually? They're going to refuel in low Earth orbit, so that means then a tanker has to fly out to the moon to refuel the lunar lander. But then again, the Starship,
it will be perhaps up to a dozen refueling activities while it's in orbit.
Yeah. Oh, look, we're getting the plasma form.
Oh yes,
Right.
starting to glow.
So
hang on to your feet, guys.
Oh right, yes. Now.
Oh, look at that! It's beautiful. Look at the sunlight.
Yeah,
I can see it now. Look.
Yes.
Oh, here we go then. Oh, look at that glow.
So altitude 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
Speed picking up slowly. Oh wow!
Altitude coming down.
It's just falling out of the sky.
Carbon line coming up.
But yeah, let's fingers crossed for this.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Do we want to go back to the commentary, or should we just stay on as we are?
I think stay on as we are. No, we can see what's happening.
We can commentate, can't we?
Look at that glow.
Heating up.
Yeah.
They should have a, I'm sure they do, but we're not seeing it, a external temperature reading. That would be.
They probably do, yeah.
They'll probably just say, ouch.
Scorchio!
Scorchio.
Well, look at that. That's gorgeous.
Still no updates on the NASA site for the Starliner.
I presume at some point we're going to have a loss of signal, or maybe not with the Starlink.
Well, if they're using, as long as they're using the Starlink, because I said I was surprised. Oh yeah, views by Starlink. It says that.
Yeah.
Well,
yes. If this weren't coming via Starlink, you would have lost the signal a long time ago.
Yeah. So.
But there's the issue of radio interference as the plasma builds up around the spacecraft, right? So it's partly an issue of tracking, having the right tracking stations in place, and partly an issue of getting a clean signal in the spacecraft.
Well, apparently, Lou, the Starship is sort of leaving a wake behind it, and there's a very narrow sort of cone, which is plasma free, that they are transmitting through.
Yeah.
Which is how we managed to get the signal.
Yeah.
Right, so
that is getting very, very warm.
It's white hot now.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous, though, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
I mean, the first time we saw this was on the last flight.
Lovely! Look at that.
Oh, it's like looking at the aurora.
Yeah, some of us haven't managed to, Rog.
All right.
that was bitter and twisted. Oh, look at those colors.
So we see the sun in that image, right? But we don't see any any glow from the spacecraft. So it's probably in the the up position, right? Does that make sense?
Right. Did I see something?
Daz, do you want to put our images back on the screen?
Yeah, I can do. No problem. Well, let's do this one because that will get them all on there then.
Yes.
There you go. But that is the. So what are we, 74?
Slow down now.
Really dropping.
There we are.
Getting more of the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Just wondering if they're going to extend the flaps a bit more. Well, it's almost nearly vertical now by the looks of it. Looking at the attitude. Almost well, seems like the plasma's dissipated.
Looks like it's survived the worst part of the re-entry so far. But the objective of this test was to make the Starship, due to its trajectory, as hot as possible. To fully test the heat shield. Because if they can get the heat shield back, they can recover the heat shield and see what happened to it. That's invaluable data.
Exactly. It looks like it's held up really well this time. So
it does, doesn't it?
Yes. Obviously, the hot ring dispersal obviously helped to get it to this further stage.
Yeah.
Is that smoke coming over the side there?
I see the altitude seems to have frozen. Oh no, it's gone down to 68 now. I hope everybody's enjoying this like we are, all these views. As I said, as Lou was saying, the last few years with the addition of all these cameras added to the actual rockets, it's increased the excitement tenfold at least.
Yeah, I remember watching in the shuttle days when they had the cameras facing the SRB separations. Absolutely amazing that was.
I'm reminded of the Juno mission to Jupiter that originally had no camera in the flight plan, and somewhat at the last minute they put a student camera on board, a student developed camera.
Yeah,
and it's been marvelous. I mean, we're such a visual species. I mean, they're doing real science with it. It turns out.
Yeah.
You know, just to see the images is so important.
I'm just watching
what images they prove to be, showing us a completely different Jupiter to what we're used to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just watching these little vapor trails up in the top left here, coming around the side of the fin there. So,
what's the altitude? I can't quite read it from here.
68.
Yeah, it's 68, but it seems to be
steady at 68
so
for
it's about 45 miles.
So that hasn't changed for quite a while.
Yeah. So they've got to be they're doing something.
Yeah.
Although the speed is what is
it's
it?
still dropping. Yeah, speed's
still dropping, but very slowly.
Okay, so there's some sort of they must be firing the main engines at this point.
There's no indication of any. Of course, like I say, they've added thrusters, but we've got no indicators for the thrusters on here. We've just got the main engines. So yeah, the speed's definitely coming down, but the altitude seems to have frozen. So I shouldn't think it's still that high now. Nowhere near. But the thing is the fact that it's surviving.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely amazing, because I think by this time we'd, the whole thing had been given up on. So
It's kind of floating in midair now at this point, right?
yeah, oh, it has dropped. It's dropped to
Yeah.
it's dropping very slowly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we only have 1 kilometer resolution on this readout, so we don't know if it dropped 1/10 of a kilometer or a full kilometer.
Oh, now it's dropping a bit faster.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's dropping.
So I wonder if it went into some sort of coast phase.
Perhaps that could be part of their efforts to make it as hot as possible.
Yeah, possibly. Because it's coming down now, but not very fast. But
There's been an alert to say it's on peak heating.
So that's what they've been looking for then. And
Yep.
like I say, once they get this back and they can have a look at it. So it looks like they try to keep it in sort of
So they have a term for maximum maximum pressure with max Q, right? There must be a letter for maximum heating.
Yeah, probably.
Max H.
Yeah, hot.
Toasty.
Max Hotel.
Yeah, we seem to be getting some vortices and that around the fin, and some other.
Oh my goodness!
So, but it's not vertical. So
that does look hot.
Yes. We're about 40 miles altitude now.
All right.
Is that debris coming off the Where are we going there? Because it twisted that a bit. We're still at 60 kilometers. Slowing down.
Very slowly.
I don't know about you, but I'm finding this quite exciting, quite
mesmerizing.
I'm just wondering, you keep seeing sort of like streamers coming off. I'm just wondering if that's bits of
tile,
the tile coming off.
Maybe.
Because they do seem to be sort of like coming in as, but it's sort of like in a coast type phase. They're moving more horizontally than they are actually vertically, because the speed's coming, the height's coming down very, very slow with the altitude. So they seem to be moving more in a, like you say, as Andy said, they're probably getting as much information they can, or to test those heat tiles as much as possible. Either way, they're obviously gathering data of some sort. You just keep getting these flashes of something, could be debris breaking off. But
difficult to know because of the lag.
It's still dropping in speed. Oh, this is so interesting, so intriguing. Just wish we knew what we were looking at. Whether that is. Don't like the look of those flashes.
I'm looking at the everyday astronaut feed, and you can see how quickly everything is coming away from the surface areas here.
Yeah.
We're seeing somewhat large pieces of something periodically flash. Excuse me.
Flash
screen.
I think they're testing this to destruction by the looks of it. Because the altitude's still saying 55 kilometers and the speed's dropping.
I'd hate to be a I'd hate to be a
What's the altitude now?
Writing this now.
54 kilometers. So just about 30 miles.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Grid fins had it, hasn't
Oh,
it?
there goes a tile. That was definitely a tile. You saw a
See
rectangular,
some,
Yeah.
an optical.
see more of the fin transparency there. So there's been
Yeah.
a few losses there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely breaking up the tiles.
Oh, on the top of the screen, it does say views by Starlink.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And there are no windshield wipers on the camera, so that's a
No.
problem.
No,
That's another issue. We're going to have
That'll
to
be an
put it
upgrade
on the
next
list. Put it on the list. Another issue.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the way it's going. I don't think this is going to survive. There was some very, very hot looking metal there. Still
51
there, still in one piece. Well, we've lost telemetry now. It's all frozen.
Oh.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
it hasn't it? Oh dear.
There we go. There's movement.
still
Yeah,
going.
it's still there.
Oh.
Come on, Starship, hang on. Not far to go now.
50 kilometers.
Right.
Yeah, speed's still decreasing.
It looks like, I mean, it's hard. It looks like it's coming in at kind of a grazing incident, but with no power, it should be parabolic.
Yeah.
Right, it says, where are we now? We're 1 hour, 59 minutes. It says it won't go transonic until 1 hour, 3 minutes into the flight. So we're still traveling at. Well, we've still got telemetry.
Yep, no, still, there we are.
Yeah. And the landing flip isn't till 1 hour, 5 minutes. That's the landing. Transonic will go. Transonic is 1 minute, 1 hour, 3 minutes, 11 seconds. So it's got another 3 minutes before it goes transonic.
It's starting
Then
to rapidly
subsonic.
slow down now.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to have to rely upon the telemetry, unless they got other cameras.
I think they would have gone to it by now.
It still seems there's some.
It's amazing we're getting these images at all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether that's the lens melted or whether or not it's just debris that's coated it.
It's just cracked actually. Those are shatter marks. Those dark lines.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
So it must have got really. Fins too are ablating, as Harry says. Yeah, that's true. Lens bubbled with heat or just debris, both and neat. Yeah, both neat. So yeah, so we're getting some image through the gaps. You still see stuff going on.
I wonder if we're going to get any shots from the ground.
Well, we were talking earlier on whether or not they would have any thing close, but with an exclusion zone, that's exactly what it is. It's an exclusion zone, so I don't know whether that's. I mean, we're still getting telemetry. It's 37 kilometers above the Earth surface, and it's down to 449 kilometers, 4,900 kilometers an hour, even less now. The speed's dropping very fast now.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
It's about 20 miles to go.
Right. Oh, back to the image. Not that we can see a lot.
No.
Oh, still there.
No, it's still moving. I mean, if they were going to heat it to the maximum.
31, yeah. 30.
31.
Yeah, 30. So if they were heating it to the maximum, I think they achieved that.
Yeah.
But again, it's the actual altitude isn't coming down that fast. So it seems to be moving more, I would assume. Oh, everything's frozen though again. So hopefully that's just a blip. They're having.
Really taking their time here. They're mounting the suspense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mount suspense.
It's like a murder mystery.
It's still alive.
Yeah, that's them lagging. It's buffering. It's not us.
Mounting the tension.
Yeah. So in theory, it should now be transonic.
Oh.
It's frozen again. Yeah, that's SpaceX.
Why don't they change to the other camera? Because it does have 2 cameras on board.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Why unless they're saving that.
Look at the pitch.
Ooh, head first.
It's nose down now. Well, I mean, at an angle.
Yeah, I don't think it should be doing that.
Something.
Well, it should be doing the landing.
No, it's leveling off.
It should be. It says landing flip should happen at 1 minute 5, 1 hour 5.
Right.
Oh, it's flipping. Is it? No.
No,
Can't tell because of the lag.
Yes, it's flipping.
Now it's flipping.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the technical terms. We're at
we're
max
getting-
flip.
I was tilting back down again.
I don't think it was meant to come in head first.
No, you could have found, because like I said, we saw what was happening to that fin at the front, and of course it was coming in, so maybe it's lost the fin. I wish we can get rid of this buffering. It's definitely them because it's happening on another screen as well.
Who are these other guys on the screen? I don't remember inviting them to the show.
No.
Our thanks to NASA Spaceflight for their coverage this afternoon.
Yeah.
We've joined the NASA Spaceflight feed, so thanks to NSF.
Oh, it's flipping.
Oh, yeah.
Altitude.
Oh, no, it's gone again.
Coming down.
It's struggling.
Yeah.
14.
Probably
13.
Probably due to the fins not being as much there as there was.
12. This is landing sequence right here.
Yeah.
12, 11. Yep.
Just watch those engines because they should relight if they're going to do a soft touchdown. It's level.
Yeah.
Oh. This must be allowed because I've just got an update.
9, 8. Slowing down. Ah, you can see the ground now.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's good.
7.
Yeah, but
Here it comes.
it's horizontal.
Yeah, the flip has worked.
So it's going to have to do the landing flip is 1 minute 5. So it's going to happen any second if it's going to happen.
So it's not
Well,
going
it's already flipped. Oh, hang on. Yes, it should happen soon.
Oh,
We don't have much soon left.
there it goes.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Is this?
Something's happened.
There's no rocket ignition yet.
I mean, that's in the water now, I should think.
I think it's just going to splash straight in.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't they say that they weren't going to... I thought they weren't going to flip it. I thought they were just going to come in belly first for this one.
Unless they've changed their minds, I was just going on what they...
Here we go.
Here it goes.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh.
Should be on the
Let's
ground.
see that fin. Let's have this
Oh, they have flipped it.
fin there.
0 altitude and it's still moving. That's not good.
Oh, yeah.
Slowing right down.
Because it does that flip only a few hundred meters up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that seems to be
that must be it.
yeah. But did
That's
you see
it. They've done it.
Yeah.
No?
It's
Well,
landed.
is this the most successful test flight yet?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Cool. So we'll have to get all the telemetry back and
Yeah.
all that. So yeah, because I mean, according to this, it's still moving at 10 kilometers per.
That must be the
per hour.
waves.
So yeah, it's got the sail up. It's got its sail up. It's going vertical now. So yeah, so it's definitely down. And it
So
seemed to
it's in
slow
the,
itself right down. So
And look at the celebration.
yeah.
Yeah. Is this in the Indian Ocean as it was planned for before?
I'm not sure. I haven't got a diagram up. I should have got a diagram.
Yeah, it's Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a few happy people there. So
Yeah.
Well, they've pulled it off.
Happy.
Well, that
What an
all went
amazing
through then.
achievement.
yeah, that was absolutely amazing. But did you see the state of that fin when we got a bit of a clear view of it? It's virtually most of it was gone. It was burnt away. So if they wanted to achieve maximum heating, I just hope they can recover this now and they can have a real good look at the state of what it is, and they can show us what's actually happened. But wow, that is fantastic. I'm sorry about the buffering. It's not us. But yeah, it because I've got it on another feed as well, and it's doing exactly the same. So that was absolutely fantastic.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, lovely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But right, so I think we've. So I hope everybody enjoyed that and found it.
Here we go.
Right, so back to there we go. Wow, well done. That was amazing. I think we can call that a success all round.
Hi. Just going. No, I'm just going.
And has been thrown out. Yeah, they found him in the broom cupboard. Shouldn't you be working? So yeah, but I think that's absolutely amazing. It's a massive step forward. They've got all the data now that they have to go through, and hopefully within the next few days and possibly the weeks, we're going to be able to see if they can recover these things. I mean, the booster was textbook. It seems to be absolutely textbook. I'd love to see what damage has been done to the actual Starship, because there was definitely tiles being removed. The fins were being eaten away by the ultra heat. Yeah, I mean, what does everyone think? Let's have a look. Lou, what do you think?
Well, I'm I'm excited. You know, in one way, this is huge and massive event and well done, and I'm feeling so not patient about getting back to the moon. So so it's great to see another. You were saying it's one massive leap. I was thinking of the first words on the moon: one small step, one giant leap for mankind. Just, you have to build this. You have to build this house slowly, brick by brick.
Yeah.
Good to see a success.
Yeah, I was referring to the Starship, not the Artemis thing, because it's just as you said, it's a small step. It's a big. They've moved on so fast. I mean, this is the fourth launch, and considering what happened at the first one, this is absolutely amazing. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, obviously, looks like the most successful test flight yet for Starship and the booster, and extremely looking forward to catching both the Starship and the booster on the launch towers with the chopsticks. Yeah.
So I think they're going to possibly do one more sea sea landing with both of them, and then they're going to possibly, depending on how things work out, they'll actually do some catching, which will be another amazing thing to watch. So yeah, Roger.
I'm so pleased that they've got it all done. So maybe the next launch they'll probably do an orbit or two, and then see how close they can get it to near the starbase.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. Andy.
I think history will record this day as the day that the exploration of space changed forever. This is such an important leap forward. Why? Because SpaceX today have demonstrated they have a launch system that can send the biggest rocket ever up into space and land it again and reuse it, and which they will. And don't forget, this rocket is capable of putting payload into space at a tiny, tiny fraction of any other launch system in terms of cost. This is going to open up the deployment of satellites. It's going to open up so much for space exploration. And I think it augurs well for Starship being the vehicle that will land people on the moon again. Everything changes as of today. No other company or space agency can now compete with SpaceX in terms of the cost of getting things into space, because of course the cost of sending up a kilo of payload depends on a lot of things, but the Starship is reusable, so the cost will be minuscule. Don't forget as well that Elon Musk said eventually the cost of each Starship launch will come down to $2 million per launch, compared to $4 billion for the SLS, NASA's SLS rocket. SpaceX have just put everybody else out of business in terms of cost, because they have now shown the Starship system as designed works and will continue to work, hopefully.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, this should be an eye opener for all the other rocket builders out there that I mean, they've been slow on the march to look at reusability. They're sort of like scratching the surface, umming and ahhing, and it's the only way to go, just to reduce cost alone. So yeah, as you said, this is a momentous day as regards reusability. There's obviously work got to be done still, but now they've achieved it. So you know, it's onwards and
well,
upwards.
it is that. Yeah, I mean, it has been the holy grail of rocketry, hasn't it? To develop a low-cost launch system that is totally reusable. This has been fulfilled today. We've seen it happen in front of our eyes. What SpaceX now have to do is to prove they can do it repeatedly, that this just wasn't a fluke, that it worked, which they will be doing over the next test flights. Elon has said, although I don't know how true this still is, that on the next integrated flight, test flight 5, he actually wants to land the booster back at Boca Chica to be caught by the chopsticks. So we will wait and see.
Yeah.
But anyway you cut it, it's a great day for SpaceX, and it's a great day for the exploration of space. So congratulations to everybody involved. I have to go now, and I suppose I better do some work at some point this afternoon. So I will catch you all later. Thank you, viewers, for being with us this afternoon.
Yeah.
We will do a full review of this on next Tuesday's live stream at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. EST. So do join Space Oddities next Tuesday. We'll try and cobble together the best footage we can find to show you. And we'll have a lot more information then, I'm sure, about what actually happened, particularly to the Starship on that fiery re-entry, where we saw bits of the spacecraft apparently melting. But it survived, and that is the important thing. So well done to everybody, and with that I will say thank you to Daz, thank you to Lou, thank you to Mike, thank you to Roger.
Are you up for later on, possibly Starliner?
Not today, no. I have to work at that time later, but I hope you can do it, and that the docking of the Starliner goes okay. It's as you said earlier, you know, it's a bit worrying that they've discovered more helium leaks, which may or may not have an effect on their plans for re-entry, depending on how the checkout of the whole thruster system goes. But the fact that they have got further helium leaks, we don't know the severity of them. All we know that there are more leaks. They haven't really.
I don't think Butch and Sonny are sort of like sounding like Donald Duck, so I think it's not that bad. But
no, indeed.
So they've isolated it, and they're monitoring the situation, and yeah, I mean they must be pretty confident they're going ahead to go to the International Space Station.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see NASA's attitude towards yet more problems with the Starliner. But let's wait till the mission's over and see what else happens.
Do a full investigation.
All right, thank you, viewers, for being here. Very kind of you for joining us on this Thursday afternoon, and we hope you're going to join us on Tuesday when we'll look back at today, as I said, and talk about what happened. And hopefully, then I hope we'll have some footage from the ground of either the booster splashdown or the Starship one, or both. I don't know, but we'll put together what we can find and give you a full report on the whole thing next Tuesday. So from me, I will say goodbye and good afternoon to all of you.
Cheers, Andy. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think basically that's we've wrapped this up now. I think we can say it's been an exciting afternoon. We can all go for a lie down, chill out a little bit, and
Luke can continue recovery.
As Andy said, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for your chat. And hopefully, like I said, we'll all see you, if not before. Just keep an eye out. We may join. We may cover the Starliner docking a bit later on. It's due about 5:15.
Yeah, 5:15
UTC. So we'll probably go on about quarter of an hour or so beforehand.
5:15 BST.
Sorry, mate.
5:15 BST.
Yeah, 5:15 BST.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is we'll see if we can cover it, and then hopefully we'll see a successful dock. At least safely they can get to the International Space Station, and then they can reassess everything. So keep an eye out because we may pop on live. So it was depending on what's actually happening. So thank you again. Thank you, Michael, Roger, and Lou for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry about the buffering on the actual link, but I think that was more them than us because it seemed to be when they were chatting with people off-site or actually on-site. They were at Boca Chica. They seem to be sort of like buffering then and very jerky. So I apologize for that. But that was outside our control. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you for the slight cock-ups I made when we started watching a game playing or something. That was my bad. But thank you again. And we hope to see you all soon. Tuesday, we'll be live Tuesday with a wrap-up of all the launches that's happened this week and everything on all the drama. So if everybody like to say goodbye, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
See you Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.